Hey everybody, I'm Mike Baird. If you're into drum stuff or you like good stories about the music business that I've been in for over 40 years, well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Mike's Drum Cubby. Welcome, Cubbers, to another episode of Mike's Drum Cubby, the channel I created for you, the Cubbies. So today we have a great drum, the Ludwig Pioneer. Very cool. You're going to hear it. You're going to see me play it, all that kind of good stuff. But then the story at the end is really about these great musicians that I've had the chance and the opportunity to work with for many years. And it's kind of a funny one today. At least I hope you think it's funny. And as you know, I kind of like throwing myself under the bus. So anyway, if you dig the channel, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, send me a comment. Always open for comments. So anyway, without getting too long-winded here, let's get to the Ludwig Pioneer. The Ludwig Pioneer. This drum was made around the 1960s. Primarily it was an inexpensive student drum, but I wanted to get into trying vintage gear, so I bought this one on eBay, and you got to be careful with that. It was cheap, but it didn't arrive without a problem. Not saying all drums on eBay have problems, but you have to ask the right questions to the seller, and I didn't. The problem was it arrived with the top hoop on the drum being cracked, right at the hole of the tension rod. But that wasn't the worst of it. The rim was made out of a nickel material. So now what do? Of course, I could get a modern hoop, and that would have fit fine, but I wanted it to be vintage, right? Yeah, of course. Starting down the road to finding vintage parts. Well, I did find one. And at the end of this video, if you're interested, I'll tell you the journey. The shell's a 3-ply mahogany with reinforcement hoops. Nice sounding warm drum. Great for the price at the time. Here's the interesting throw-off. Typical of that period. The butt end. And the logo. Five and a half by 14 Pioneer, Ludwig Pioneer. That's about the bottom of the range. So here we go. Rim shot. All right, so the pitch is higher now. It's a 6 lug, by the way, if I didn't mention that before. There we go. Rim shot. All right, welcome back. So anybody want to guess the weight of this drum? 6 pounds even. So the story goes like this. As I mentioned, the top hoop was cracked. And I thought, what the heck am I going to do now? I'm looking on eBay. I'm looking, can't find anything. And if I found them, they were like really expensive. Well, I wound up on a drum forum, online. And they kept mentioning this vintage drum bug. A guy named Vinny that owned a little place called Vintage Drum Bug. So I wound up getting a hold of this guy, and he goes, I said, listen, I've got this older Pioneer, it's got the nickel plated, oh yeah, I know those. Yeah, they're nickel plated, or they're made out of nickel or whatever, brass and whatever. And he goes, yeah, I've got a top hoop. And I go, really? I said, how much do you want for it? Which was the key. And he says, give me $25 for it. I said, I'll be right down.
All right.
So I drove right down. Great guy. This guy Vinny had lots of great vintage stuff. Anyway, this was the beginning of this, trying to find, vintage stuff. So anyway, I would wind up, and that's in another episode I'll talk about more, but I wound up getting actually several pieces from him and selling several pieces for him to other people, like, producer Bob, who I'm going to mention in this episode, who does a little thing for us here, for his studio. So anyway, so that was kind of, I got that deal, and I wound up getting a drum set from him, several other pieces, whatever. So that's kind of the end of that deal. Now we get on to the story for the folks that aren't into the drum stuff. So back in the day, there was this group of guys. I worked with several different kind of groups of people. And this one group of guys had the bass player, Chuck Rainey, who's a really well-known, famous bass player, and Wah Wah Watson. Now, Wah Wah Watson, you say, wow, that's kind of an interesting name, whatever. Well, he was known Wah Wah Watson because he was one of the first pioneers of this pedal that you could use for guitars to create a sound, and they called it a wah-wah pedal because it would go whack, 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 whack. And Bob DeMarco's nice enough, great guitar player, great producer. He's done little snippets. So for you folks that don't know what a wah-wah pedal does to a guitar, here's an example. Awesome. So anyway, thank you, Bob. So that's for you novices out there that don't know what it is. Now you know what it is. Well, anyway, back in the day, he was kind of the instigator of this pedal and really kind of mastered it. Became like the guru. So they named him Wah Wah Watson, last name being Watson. Okay, so anyway, there you go. So anyway, he's on the date, and I used to work with him, Chuck Rainey, and there was a couple other guys, and we would work and do a lot of, like, we did actually quite a few themes, TV themes, and we did, a couple of TV shows and stuff like that. Well, anyway, so the arranger that would always want to hire us to do these things was a guy named Gene Page. And Gene Page was a really good arranger. He had done a bunch of stuff for Diana Ross and a bunch of R&B like Smokey Robinson, stuff like that. Really good arranger. Well, anyway, on these particular dates, he always had a stopwatch, and not like the old type that looked like a clock, but it was a digital one. And he would count like this and figure out, what the tempo would be from his stopwatch. Well, in those days, it was up to the drummer to keep time once we found what the timing was going to be, like what the tempo of the song was going to be. And then it was up to me or the drummer to carry on that deal. Where today, everybody uses, for the most part, uses a click track or metronome. So you have something that you're listening to in your headphones, as well as other people, the click of whatever the tempo is of the song. So you just follow that along. It's not as easy as it sounds. A lot of people have a hard time with that, but a lot of people have it mastered as well. Well, anyway, so back then you had to have decent time, and the time would float, in the older records, if you put a metronome to it, it would vary, but it felt great. So it's called music, so anyway, not to digress into that deal. So Gene would have this stopwatch. All right, one of the things that would kind of drive me nuts about Gene was he would do this. When you're counting a song off, 1, 2, and a 1, 2, you're getting ready. You're like a racehorse getting ready for the gate to open up, at the racetrack. You're getting ready to hit that downbeat and go for a take. Well, he would start off like in this particular session, and he would do this all the time. But this is just an example. He would start his stopwatch and then go, all right, here we go. Here we go, everybody. We're rolling? Yeah, we're rolling. Okay. 1, 2, and a 1 and 2 and no, hold it, guys. And it's like you're falling over yourself, It's like you're dropping your stick. It's like, okay. So let's do it again. Let's do it again. Okay. And what he's doing was trying to get his timing to get the tempo of what the deal was. But it's like, okay. All right, are we rolling? Okay, here we go. Start the stopwatch and you go, okay, everybody, here we go. Here you go. 1, 2, and a 1 and 2. And then, no, hold it, guys. Okay. And it's like, okay. So we did this for this one track. We had like 2 songs or 3 songs to do, and it was for the Osmonds. And the Osmonds had a TV show at the time called The Osmonds, right? So or maybe it was the Donnie and Marie show. I don't remember. But anyway, it was for the Osmonds. The two of the brothers were there. They were kind of co-producing, whatever the deal was. And this was at a studio called Wally Heider's, which used to be on the corner of Selma and Cahuenga. So for you folks that know Hollywood, it used to be on a corner. It's a coffee shop now, but that used to be Wally Heider's. A lot of big sessions were done there. And there was another studio right just down the street called Hollywood Sound or something like that, or Hollywood Master Studios or something like that. Anyway, that's another episode. We'll save that. So anyway, we get back to the session here. And so we've done this like 4 times. He stopped us. And it's like, okay. Are we rolling? Yeah, we're rolling. It starts the stopwatch. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go, guys. 1 and 2. And a 1 and 2. No, hold it, guys. And I'm done. So I say to Gene, if you stop us one more time with that stopwatch, I'm going to yank that thing from your neck and stomp on it and break it into 1,000 pieces. Now everybody's like, oh my God. Everybody's frustrated, whatever. And Gene's just the nicest guy. He was the greatest guy. But it used to drive everybody nuts. And anybody that worked with him would tell you, yep, used to drive us crazy. But, you know, Gene was a great guy, great arranger, all that kind of good stuff. Well, it comes to like, you know, about more than halfway through the session, whatever. Or maybe we're done. And 2 of the Osmond brothers come into the session. They go, wow, you guys are really great. And they were like mom's apple pie, you know, great all-American guys. You know, it's like, you know, big smiles. You know, it's like, oh, we love you guys. And, you know, this, that, and the other thing. You know, we got to get you on the show, on the TV show. And I said, well, you know, hey, I'll come on the show as long as Marie will do. And I mentioned this act, but in a slang verbiage for this act. And everybody's like, oh no, Mike, you didn't just say that. Everybody's like, Gene's like, you know, it's kind of wild in those days. But I kind of figured they didn't know what I was talking about. And they're like, yeah, sure, yeah, we'll ask her. Well, and they're like, I can't believe you got away with that. So anyway, I've worked with Marie, I've worked with Donnie, I've worked with all those guys. They're all great people. And I want to shout out and say hi. Hopefully everybody's healthy and everybody's good. So anyway, this kind of ends this. There's more about Wawa in the session, and I'm going to share it at some other time for another story. But anyway, that's my Gene Page story with this group of guys for today. So we come to the end of another episode. And what do we usually say?
And that's it.
And we'll see you, hopefully, in a minute.